super happy to finally have another one that's like working because it was driving me nuts not being able to like watch my Plex stuff like when it's slow at work.
Hey guys, what are you talking about?
New iPad Mini.
New iPad Mini.
Oh, cool.
Well, new to me. New to me. It's been out for probably like 5 years, but
I just heard you guys chatting and thought it might be kind of fun to stop in, sit down, and do an episode of Movie Schmovie.
it's weird that it was already recording though, so that was good.
I do sometimes leave the doors open so friends can come in, and I just have it going. Yeah,
I got you.
it's sort of a paranoid Nixon thing that I've got going on where I just want to record everything.
Watch yourself.
Nothing incriminating could possibly happen.
Nothing.
But and as I say this, I realize that I don't think we did this in our last episode. I'm John.
I'm Steve.
I'm Ron.
Yeah, this is Movie Schmovie. Episode 213. This is our summer movie preview episode for the summer of 2018, the year of our Lord. Or maybe your Lord, I don't know.
Year of somebody's Lord.
Somebody's Lord.
Yeah.
I believe when they make people swear in on John Hodgman's Judge John Hodgman podcast, he says, do you swear to God or whatever?
I like that.
Yeah.
I like him a lot, man.
So here we are, looking forward. I don't know if we've done like a seasonal preview like this in a while.
It's been a bit.
And I think it's because we haven't been doing as many episodes these last couple of years, and every now and then it just gets away from us. We were discussing how often a major film seems to be coming out, like a franchise film, and how often, if we are going to talk about those films, that does eat up a lot of our attention. So maybe that's why I feel like we haven't done this last few seasons. But giving the summer of 2018 a once-over, before we get into our specific picks, do you have any general thoughts? Does it look like a really good summer, or is it hard to say yet? Does it seem like there's a lot of holes yet to be filled?
It seems like a really like unbalanced summer to me. I mean, I know we're only talking about 4 months, but and it's kind of like May and August seem kind of like light to me. I mean, there's some stuff coming out in August that seems interesting enough, but it's not like anything that's the summer blockbuster movies.
I think last year I picked Logan Lucky for very much that reason, that it was the only movie in August that seemed kind of interesting, and I'm sure that like shit will be announced between now and then that will creep in. But yeah, August seemed really strange to me.
Yeah. I don't know. It's just weird. Like looking at the list of everything when I was going through and making my picks, it was like June and July, there's a shitload of movies.
Yeah.
And I'm like, wow, which one do I pick? But then May and August, you're like, wow, there's like not many things to pick from. I mean, lots of small films, limited releases and things like that, but that was the big thing I noticed.
Yeah, the one thing we talked about before this episode, trying to be like confident with our picks and not do a lot of also rans. The only thing that makes that kind of funny once I looked at all the months is if I were to say what were the 4 films I was most excited to see in the next 4 months, I think they all come out in June.
Exactly.
But if I got to space it out, it forces you to be a little brutal. It forces you to weigh things a little differently. So I do think it's an interesting challenge to try to winnow it down to just one. Because,
it's hard.
Yeah, June is especially painful. But I don't know, Ronald, do you want to get us started?
Sure. So this is May.
We're looking at May.
So I chose the revenge flick, Revenge. It's about a young lady who seems to be at a getaway and gets attacked by, I guess, some of the people that are in this party situation during her getaway. They leave her for dead. She recovers and then goes back to the place where she was hurt and tries to kill as many people as humanly possible. I love these sorts of movies.
Sorry, my dog's freaking out in the background. Yeah. That means either my wife and son are about to come home. Someone could be breaking into the neighbor's house, or like someone is walking by.
All these scenarios.
They're daring to walk by his house at this hour.
Yeah.
Hold on one sec. Sully! I know, Sully.
Oh.
He's so expressive. He goes from growling to me like, what am I supposed to do, Dad? There's a dog walking by and he's not saying hey to me. So yeah, Revenge. I saw just a picture from that. I didn't. Is there a trailer out?
Yeah, there's a trailer, and
you sent it to us.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, I didn't look at that.
Way to miss
like,
that, John.
I know.
Oversaturated sort of deal.
Pretended I saw it and said it looks great or something like that.
Right. Oversaturated sort of deal. Red blood mask
Yeah.
The person's like sharpening a knife and she's jumping on top of people and slitting throats. And I'm really about, like spit on your grave sort of.
Right.
Hold on. Sully! I know, come here. What's going on? Are you doing your job? So yeah, I did you watch the trailer,
Yeah,
Steve? Okay.
yeah, it's cool.
I'll have to check it out.
Definitely interested.
I couldn't tell from the description I saw whether it was one of these kind of postmodern, like post-ironic kind of commentaries on that type of film, or if it was actually a sort of almost like an exploitation film.
It looks like an exploitation film.
Okay.
It's directed by Coralie Fargiet. I haven't seen any of her work, but I love a woman-directed, woman-led film. I'm all about it. Especially, it's supposed to be kind of in the same vein as what's that French horror film that came out a couple years ago? With the lady with the short hair. High Tension. It's been compared to that in terms of intensity and stuff like that. So you throw out High Tension as a comparison, I'm all in.
Yeah,
looks really good.
My pick for May, I kind of was like going for the big two tent poles, but I got to lean towards Deadpool 2.
Yeah.
The resident non-comic guy, read a few here and there, but I just really had a blast with the first film. I love Ryan Reynolds. I'm really excited to see Josh Brolin in his second comic book movie this summer. I don't know. The cast is killer. I love David Leitch being involved with the second movie, who most people probably know from like the John Wick, Atomic Blonde is what he's kind of done recently, and he just was recently announced to be doing the Hobbs and Shaw spinoff from the Fast and Furious franchise. So just amazing action choreography, gunplay, just all that kind of crazy shit, which is just perfect for Deadpool.
Yeah.
So I'm really excited to see what he does with how the film looks, how its pacing looks, and it just looks like a really good time. And I like the trailer. So yeah, I'm super stoked on Deadpool 2.
I'm intrigued at the way they're expanding the world of the character so much.
Yeah.
And the only thing I wonder is there any way it can be... I mean, it can't be a surprise like the first one was, but is there any way it can even kind of match... I mean, I don't know. Maybe they've... Obviously, they haven't shown us but a fraction of what they have in the trailer.
Right.
But I just wonder, with it being such a team-oriented story and introducing all these characters, if it can have the sort of... I don't know, shark-like simplicity that made the first one work so well. And that's not to say they shouldn't be trying to expand it. Right. I'm just saying it is not more of the same. It looks like they're definitely teetering it more towards a kind of traditional tentpole film in that way. But I agree with you. Josh Brolin just looks interesting in that role.
Seeing like Bill Skarsgård's in it.
The kid from Hunt for the Wilder
Julian
People.
Dennison's in it. Terry Crews, Zazie Beetz, or is it Zazie?
Yeah, Zazie.
From Atlanta.
I'm very excited to see her in that.
Yeah.
Now that I'm caught up on Atlanta, especially, I've kind of reminded myself how
she's great,
just captivating she is. She's a great actress.
And there's a group that they're introducing X-Force.
Pretty much,
really cool. Yeah. It's kind of cool.
But do you know what I mean? You know what, though? It's the same concern we had expressed before Civil War. It's like, are there too many characters in this movie?
Yeah.
Same concern we're expressing right now.
This
episode comes out the day that Infinity War hits theaters. We won't have seen it yet. Or we haven't seen it yet. But yeah, there's that question of, is it too much? So yeah, I think that's always going to be the problem with any kind of comic book thing, is the way that you build on the world in the sequel, the way that you expand it, it can make it something different. So.
Right.
But did the director, he directed the first John Wick?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, that's a really economical movie. So maybe he brought some of that, like, get to the pointness to this movie, even if it does have a dozen characters bouncing off each other.
It just seems like he's really kind of... He's become like a guy, like one of the guys. I know he produced the first one. I don't know if he has a director credit on the first John Wick though. I mean, I think he did some directing, like of some of the like action sequences, but the first one was that Chad Stahelski or Stahelski. But it's the aesthetic is seen in Atomic Blonde. And, even from the trailers and footage from this film, some of the action sequences look pretty fucking cool. Yeah. So, super excited for that. What do you got for May?
All right, I'll close out May with probably an obvious pick for me. But not only is it, I'm curious to know what they're doing with this Han Solo movie over there at Disney and Lucasfilm. I also think it looks good. And I feel like I've been one of the few people I know who all along has felt like, though I did not want it, when they said they were going to maybe do some expanded films, they were going to do some of these offshoots, these one-offs that would fall in between the big saga films. I was not praying or crying out for a young Han Solo film. In fact, a part of me doesn't want to see that role recast, doesn't want to see anyone else play it. But once they announced it, I immediately began to say, well, then just make a good movie. Don't fuck up Han Solo's origin. He is, if we think of Star Wars as one of the biggest franchises ever, and Han Solo is the most beloved character probably from the original films.
Yeah.
He's the most beloved character. He's in the running for most beloved character of all time. I think "Don't Fuck This Up" is written written large. Gosh,
getting choked up about it, where it just takes your voice away. Yeah. I think it went down the wrong pipe.
Yeah. Yeah, guys. So anyway, it'll be a seamless edit. But yeah. So wanting to see what they would do with it, knowing they wouldn't take it lightly, they wouldn't put out some shit, if they could help it. Knowing that Lawrence Kasdan at least co-wrote the script with his son. No one writes Han Solo quips better than Lawrence Kasdan. Right. I think even from the trailer, some of the fun you see between Han Solo and Chewbacca, those simple exchanges that say so much. Granted, Alden Ehrenreich is not Harrison Ford and will never be Harrison Ford, and there won't ever be another Harrison Ford. So to me, I look at Alden Ehrenreich with a certain amount of empathy, almost not like I feel sorry for the guy, but like I can't imagine that's a huge hill to climb as an actor.
Absolutely.
So I admire the kind of moxie to take it on. I kind of admire the boldness in general of that. I don't see him in the trailer as really doing like a Harrison Ford impression, but I do see him capturing some element of the kind of nervousness, the sort of boyishness almost that Harrison Ford could have in some of those comic moments. Who knows what the movie's going to be like? Who knows what the performance is going to be like? Who knows what Star Wars is going to look like after this? This is the shortest gap ever between two Star Wars films. It's less than 6 months, really. Yeah. Or right at about 6 months. So I don't know. I don't know what to expect except for the fact that the trailers look cool. The heist on this train looks cool. I like Chewbacca wearing goggles. But it also could be one of those things where if the mix is just off just a little bit, like the production of the Solo film is one of the most troubled productions that we've ever heard this much detail about. Yeah. What do you guys think about that? Do you think that means this has got to be one of the most troubled films of all time, or do you think we are just in the age where films make headlines, Star Wars movies generate headlines?
Yeah.
Do you have a bad feeling about this, or do you have a good feeling about this?
I think in the age of information, I think it's really cool that we're all privy to all this cool stuff, but I think the difference between then and now, like 20 years ago and now, is like it falls on every ear, and the educated ear knows that stuff is just stuff that always goes on. The problem with that stuff is that if that information falls in the wrong hands, it's kind of magnified in a way that we just hadn't seen before. It's like any little detail becomes something that's almost like unforgivable. It will be awful. There reshoots. Every movie has fucking reshoots. I don't know if you know that, guys, listeners. Most films have reshoots.
Right.
I mean, how many reshoots? I mean, if one has more reshoots than normal, yeah.
But these particular type of films, Ronald, you're right. Like that's built into the schedule.
Yeah,
they're going to come. They don't always assume they're going to shoot a huge chunk of the film, but they assume they're going to need something that they didn't get the first time.
Yeah. So don't take all that stuff and think it's going to be an awful offering. I'm excited about it. I think Disney has a formula where something at the very least is going to be above average. At the very least. So that's what I'm expecting. It's at least going to be above average. This is going to be the first of the individualized sort of stories that we've seen. We've seen like ones that are in a world that's a little outside of the story, but this is like an origin story.
Yeah, right. This is different from Rogue One.
This is very different.
Because Rogue One filled in a plot detail. We always knew that there were these people that got the plans to the Death Star, but it's not the same thing as saying young Han.
But it does have a lot of pressure behind it. It is a very beloved character. But I mean, this new company, Disney, this fresh up and coming, trying this indie offering, this Han Solo. Let's see how it goes. So
it just, I mean. Yeah, like, I don't know. Nothing much to add. I mean, it is something that always happens. Today, we hear about it in real time. You know, decades ago, you heard about it years after a movie came out, so it never really was a factor in your wanting to see it or your feelings about how a trailer looks. Because now, you know, you have information like that, and you're watching the trailer with a different set of eyes because you're looking for shit or you're thinking shit, you know, from what you've heard. But I
I'm
don't know.
looking for the seams.
Yeah. But I'll say, like, my interest in the movie's grown exponentially over the last 2 weeks. I'm definitely way more interested now that they've kind of put some full trailers out. Still have some reservations about the casting, which we've talked about.
Right.
But I mean, I like the idea of it being like a heist. It looks like truly what almost seemed like Rogue One was going to be more of.
Yeah.
This seems like it actually may be that.
This might be the fun that we thought Rogue One might have been.
Yeah, like,
And I liked Rogue One, but it was not designed to be a fun team movie.
So I hope it ends up being that, because I want it to be good. I like Ron Howard, and I think he's like kind of seen in a certain way, and I think it's kind of he's underrated.
I've been enjoying watching him on social media, the way that he has pushed his role in this. He really seems like a guy who is maybe a fan first, and is friends with Lucas.
Yeah.
And it brings a little bit of that classic... I'm all for this.
Yeah.
Bringing some of that classic Lucas back around. Disney's done a great job with Star Wars, in my opinion. I love what they're doing.
Right.
But I'm not one who wants to act like Lucas didn't create this world.
Right.
And like he might not know, especially with a character that he created like Han Solo, that, it's cool to have someone who he might have picked, in other words, to shepherd this film.
I'm excited to see it.
Cool.
June, what do you got?
June. Okay, so 2011, a short came
No,
out.
2018. We're doing 2018.
I know.
Today.
But in 2011, a short came out that kind of reminded me of the feeling that you got where you get a tape that's gross, like Faces of Death and all that stuff.
Talk about
like,
a tape you would put in the VHS.
Yes, a VHS.
It's a callback to last week.
Yeah. Where you would have something that you'd show somebody, like, have you seen this thing? And
Like the tape in the ring.
the tape in the ring. And that was the strange thing about the Johnsons, directed by Ari Aster. It is one of the weirdest things I've ever seen in my life. And it still has that feel, despite things being digital, that when you see it, it's going to fuck with you like it fucks with, it has a feel to it like that.
I've never seen it.
All I'm going to say is, don't even look anything up about it. Just watch it.
Okay.
It's about a family, a beautiful family of 4 or 3, and they have a dark secret. And I'm just keeping it at that. And then I'm telling you, you will never guess what the secret is.
Okay.
It is fucking dark.
Okay.
Ari Aster did that. So this is one of those shorts that keeps reemerging every couple years.
Yeah.
It's like, have you seen it? And it keeps getting put on like blogs and stuff like that. Fast forward to 2017. A24 announces that Ari Aster, the director of this weird short, is doing this movie Hereditary. Right?
I think I picked that too for June.
A director who has a knowledge of sort of the weirdness that happens in the dynamic of a family,
Right.
doing something that seems even creepier than the previous offering, which was fucking creepy.
Yeah, that trailer exudes menace, and it's got like creepy sounds and images, and that's just the trailer, and you've got no context for it.
And if it's even remotely as dark as the short, he likes to lean towards things that people do not like. And that's like abuse.
Yeah.
Sexual things. It's a strange thing that
Inside
I think
of the family dynamic.
Yeah, and I think it's something that he's gonna maybe dig into with this. And Hereditary, come on, A24 at this point has a storied past of making movies that just, regardless of how you feel about it, are against the grain of whatever's out right now.
Yeah.
And this feels like one of those movies that is gonna be something special.
Will it not be one of those movies that's like marketed as like the second coming of horror?
I hope not, man.
Because it's also my pick for June. I also selected Hereditary.
Because of his short, they're gonna do that.
It looks amazing. The trailer's great. I've only watched one of the trailers. I'm trying not to watch any more of them because I've just read enough and I want to just go.
The first trailer gives you just enough mystery.
But it is the praise on it.
The A24 model.
You got that A24 template of like, since The Exorcist, since this, and since The Omen, The Child, man, that's the only thing that has me hesitating.
We've talked about it so many times. Whenever I see one of those trailers that says that shit, it's almost like my guard goes up, and I'm like, it used to have the opposite effect, and now it just makes me go, okay, yeah, right. The scariest film since The Exorcist. People just like to say that. I don't even think people watch horror films who say that shit. Like
the internet campaign is going to use that short That's gonna
But what's
be a
weird
thing.
though is it comes out in 2 months, and I don't know what that short is.
Yeah, which is
I mean, and
it's
it'll
cool.
probably it has time to happen.
It has time to happen.
But I just hope that like they haven't burned that goodwill from people that are like looking for that next great horror film.
There's a flaming man in the trailer.
There's a flaming man
Well, I guess I did.
So
in the middle of a living room,
and he's like, oh god, and that little noise that the little girl makes.
Yeah.
So yeah, that was your pick, and that was my pick. But you should
Holy
at least
shit.
throw out what was your second pick, just so we get 3 movies mentioned.
Is it okay, Ronald?
I think it's
fine,
okay
man.
when
It's fine for that.
when we all pick the same. Yeah.
yeah.
I guess my second pick for June, only because oh man,
Yeah, I know. See,
there's 2.
See,
I'm gonna go with one though. I'm gonna go with one.
do it.
Only because it's fresh. When we're recording this,
Oh, yeah,
the new
you might-
trailer for Jurassic World came out today.
There's nothing wrong with that.
So I'll go that. I'll go Jurassic World: Fallen Kingdom. Jay Bayona, I love as a filmmaker, as a director. Monster Calls was one of my favorite films of 2016. I love God, what's the other one that he did with the girl, the woman at the house with the kids? Oh my God.
The orphanage.
Orphanage. Yep, Orphanage. So I'm really excited to see what he's going to do with this Jurassic World franchise. The newest trailer that came out today, which is Wednesday, what is today's date? The 18th. When we're recording this, each trailer has gotten me more into the sequel.
Mm-hmm.
I enjoyed Jurassic World. I thought it was fun. I thought it had problems, but I enjoyed it quite a bit.
Yeah.
This looks like a darker film. I hope it is. I like the idea, the tagline, the park is gone, or whatever the tagline is.
Right.
I love the idea of the main characters kind of getting duped a little bit and kind of going rogue, which is kind of cool. And, just the creatures, man. Like, what do you watch Jurassic Park for? You watch it for the cool characters that you care about, but you also watch it for the creature design, seeing some of these dinosaurs, these mutant dinosaurs they're creating from DNA, and I don't know. The latest trailer that I saw today really got me going for it, and there's that scene in the trailer, that like massive like gator shark, whatever the hell it is, megalodon gator surfing in the wave. I don't know if you saw it yet.
I don't think I've seen the new trailer yet.
It's just a really cool shot, and I mean, just the idea that monsters or dinosaurs are like out in the world is cool, and hopefully it's done better than in some of the prior sequels to Jurassic Park.
Yeah.
Or just differently. Hopefully. But if I get to pick a number 2, recently that trailer it's got me.
I need to see that, because I have to say from the first trailer, I was like, I'm on board for this because it's Jurassic Park, but it definitely didn't feel like it showed me enough substantially new.
I agree.
To engross me.
And that's how I felt. Just like I said about Solo, it's kind of gotten more and more into it. The final trailer that came out today, it's definitely more of the plot, which I think is cool. But yeah,
Cool.
It's got me pumped to see it actually, which is good because I love these movies in general.
Yeah, they're good movies.
Well, see, I'm left with the tough test of trying to pick between 3 or 4 movies that are all different. They have different things going for them. There's not like one you can say that's definitely the one. But I'm going to say, just for kind of what you said, recency, something that seems really fresh, something that seems new. I'm very curious about a lot of films in June. There's some good-looking shit. We could have spent the whole episode talking about June.
Yeah.
But American Animals.
Yeah.
The next film by the team that came up with the Imposter.
Yep.
Which is a documentary that does play around with like cinematic techniques and reenactments that did show that they had a knack for that kind of storytelling. That's not just talking heads. And this is a movie that purports to be like a very true story, at least from what they've said. Is that like every detail is true?
This is a MoviePass joint. Did you know that?
It is.
This is the film they bought.
Really?
Yeah, MoviePass Ventures, their distribution arm.
Holy crap.
This is their first movie or their first big acquisition.
Oh, wow.
So written and directed by Bart Layton,
Right.
is the creator's name. Yeah, it just looks like a really interesting movie. The cast is full of a couple of faces that I really enjoy seeing, and I think that just this kind of content, I don't know, there's something about it that feels like it could be something really special.
Totally agree.
And the fact that I don't quite know how it is something special, and it almost seems like a story we've seen before, but something about the way it's presented as almost like these kids are doing this crime out of some kind of boredom,
Yeah.
out of some kind of just like wanting to do something more interesting with their lives. Yeah, it's an interesting idea, and not knowing much about it except that it looks and feels cool, and that the last project these people did was amazing. I'm on board for American Animals, even though movies that have American anything in the title, I feel like that should be done, right?
Yeah, they just keep doing it though.
But it's a subgenre now because there's American made, American.
I
American
love
Vandal?
most of these movies though.
Maybe they realize Steve's going to like this movie. Let's
You're
stick
gonna
American.
love it.
American
in the title.
Made, American Pie,
American Movie.
Beauty,
Oh,
American Movie.
yeah.
I mean, that's a pretty good run.
American Psycho.
Wow. Maybe they should only make movies with American in the title.
Seriously.
American Solo, a Star Wars story. The box office gross just shoots right up.
Right.
What do you got? July.
Julie. You're probably gonna pick this one.
I am.
Man, look, this year, the year that it came out 3 years ago, was the James Bond movie that wasn't a James Bond movie.
Yep.
And that's Mission Impossible. Mission Impossible Fallout. While the trailer doesn't look quite as exciting as the last one, it still has this storied history of just being a solid story. Mm-hmm. It's just solid stories where, things fall apart and they seem almost impossible for him to get back together. And he puts it together in a way, and the action sequences are so well shot. There's never any CGI when you see Tom Cruise jumping around because he does his own shit.
Yeah. It's crazy.
And the things that he can't do, they have so far away that you can't really tell anyway.
You might see a shot in this film and think, boy, it looks like he broke his ankle in that shot.
Yeah.
And he may have.
You're like, oh, actually, he did.
There's something about...
That video is crazy, by the way.
I haven't seen it.
He's like jumping from a building to another building, and he's actually jumping, and you see him break his ankle against the wall of the building.
This is like that Jackie Chan clip from like
Yes.
Rumble in the Bronx or something.
Yes, exactly.
Does he say, did we get the shot?
Yeah,
Like,
he said, doesn't he say that in the clip? Or does
oh,
he
I don't know.
Yeah.
I feel like he does, or he gets up and keeps going. Like he doesn't stop. But then apparently he broke his ankle, though.
There's something about somebody like Tom Cruise, man. You can say what you want about how, Scientology and all that stuff. A man that does his own shit.
Invented science fiction.
Invented science fiction. Also invented so many accolades in his life, including inventing science fiction and being the first short man to be considered the most amazing man alive. It's just something that
The world's tallest short man, perhaps?
yes. I believe that he could beat anybody up at this point. And
He looks amazing.
he does. He
And
does.
this franchise has been handled so well.
So well.
It's one of the most viable franchises. I mean, outside of some of the IP that we talked about just earlier, the Mission Impossible franchise has done like the impossible. You could make a argument about the Fast and the Furious franchise, but it's the franchise that still makes Tom Cruise Tom Cruise.
Yeah.
And they've managed to make each film. I mean, I don't know. Maybe some would say some better. Like each film is sort of getting better in some ways.
Definitely.
And working with Christopher McQuarrie, which he has a great working relationship with, is going to be directing this one. I think he's coming back. He did the one prior, right?
Yeah.
The first time he actually directed the second one.
Yeah.
Or a director has directed the next one in the franchise, which is interesting. But I mean, he's got great cast around him. I'm curious to see what Henry Cavill's character does in this film. I love Rebecca Ferguson.
Is he a good guy or a bad guy, Henry Cavill?
I don't know.
Because it looks like he's fighting
He
alongside
does.
him in some parts of the trailer.
And chasing him.
And chasing him in another.
I hope it's both.
But Henry Cavill does this move in that
love
fight, the brawler
Yes.
thing, where he just like breaks. I don't know. I don't know what that is, but
Yeah.
like he does like the little arms down. It's like now let's fight, and I'm like scared
Yeah.
every time I see that.
It makes you realize how much bigger he is than Tom Cruise.
Yeah.
He's a big man. And it's going to be really interesting to watch them.
But that's the
kinda
scene
go-
where it seems like he's helping him. They're
Yeah,
fighting.
it
They're
does.
fighting the same people in the bathroom, and then there's a scene later where. In the helicopter.
helicopters.
I love that we've become such trailer watchers.
Yeah.
I think the interesting thing about that Mission Impossible trailer, though, is that I saw it for like the 5th time in a trailer in a theater recently, like last week, and it got me excited again.
Yeah.
So you were saying maybe not as exciting as the last couple trailers, but as far as this franchise knowing how to say, well, you liked the last couple, and these movies are kind of getting better, and now look at this, now look at this. I love that they know the joke of Ethan Hunt being kind of a maniac and being very Tom Cruise-like in his what will he do next.
Yeah.
I love that his trailers now do that. It's like, what's the stunt in this film?
Yeah.
You know, they have to give you
Well,
some...
that's the angle. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Absolutely.
The fact that he does that, the fact that he works so hard, I do think that it's like what actor of his ilk gets this much goodwill coming his way at this point in his career? What film series seems to be getting better and has more and more people saying you should really watch part 6?
Yes.
The last few were
crazy,
good. It's
man.
pretty crazy. Yeah.
I'm gonna say this, and I hope I don't offend anybody when I say this. He's one of the last movie stars, and it feels different. Like I'm not saying that any of the people
you're
that
right,
are
though.
younger aren't of equal or greater talent. I just think there's something about whatever Tom Cruise is. The fact that he's not on social media, the fact that he's
He's barely on social media.
He's barely.
He posts like his trailers.
Yeah, he is a movie star.
It's you're so right. You're 100% right. But then you're also like so wrong because this is what he's hanging on by.
Yeah, this is it.
This is it. Which is why I'm saying like this is what makes him relevant still as a movie star.
Yeah,
I love
as a
Tom
movie star,
Cruise.
yeah.
You know, in period. He's one of my favorite actors.
Yeah.
But most other films that he's either tried to open or franchises that he's tried to start,
The
Jack
Mummy.
Reacher, The Mummy, American Made, all these movies
Trash.
just bombed. I liked American Made, and Jack Reacher's fun.
Yeah,
the
the first one.
sequel's not.
Yeah.
But not
Reacher was-
in general, not bad films at all. But the bankability of his name is not with those films.
Yeah.
It literally, I think, only still exists with Mission Impossible.
Yeah.
And I think that's why it's like all in on Mission Impossible. Give me the best story. Give me the best cast. I need to up the stunt every goddamn.
Let's take our time developing this script, everything.
Absolutely, and that's why I think they're like so consistent, and in some cases better from film to film. I can't wait to see it.
I can't wait.
And I can't wait to see a final trailer for it because the trailer we're talking about is still just a teaser.
Right.
You know, and then in the next like probably 2 or 3 weeks, we'll probably get like a full trailer for it, which will probably be fucking amazing.
Yeah.
Every time they make one of these movies, I'm afraid, though, they're going to kill Simon Pegg's character.
I know.
It worries me. It's
don't
like
want
that's
that
the
happen.
one thing they can do that will actually hurt my feelings because I love that guy.
Yeah.
But maybe they know. Maybe they know. Like, no, this is a flavor that keeps him coming back. You know. All right. Well, July. That was your pick for July.
It was.
Okay. I don't know. July is another month where it would be very easy to split my vote. But when I look at trailers, I think that's a big thing you got to do sometimes. There's movies you hear about. They sound cool. You want to see them. There's a big movie in July that I'm definitely going to see that I can't wait to see. But if I'm comparing trailers, I'm going to give the edge to a different movie. I'm going to give the edge to Sorry to Bother You.
So sorry.
Not the theme of the movie.
Not the theme of the movie. But a movie starring Lakeith Stanfield.
Ooh.
It looks bizarre. It
does.
looks like weirdly satirical. It looks dark. It looks funny. It looks racial. It looks like it's in your face. I just think it just looks like an interesting film. And I've heard really good things about it from festivals. And the guy who made it... Yeah, Sorry to Bother You, directed by Boots Riley.
Oh, Boots Riley, never mind.
And written by Boots
That's
Riley.
a great name.
So it's another auteur film like American Animals for me from June, but it just seems like such an interesting concept, and the way that it seems like it can be funny and relevant and surprising. And again, you watch the trailer and you don't know what the heck kind of movie it's going to be. It could be like Southland Tales or something like that, where it's trying to do too much. But I've heard too many really good things about it. That it just seems like it's going to be on that crowd pleasing end of that kind of mind blowing spectrum. But I like that. I like it when a movie when you don't know what the heck to expect.
Yeah.
And like we've said before, Lakeith Stanfield is an interesting actor to watch.
He's so good, man.
He's so good, and he brings such passion to it, and he's got a genuine oddness to him that makes me think that's another reason why this movie could really be something off the wall, is that I think he would be attracted to that kind of material. And Tessa Thompson also. She's really achieved a lot in terms of name recognition, getting to the point where now you see her and you sort of associate her with a certain kind of genre project, but she can do big stuff. Yeah, I expect this to be a really interesting film. Sorry to Bother You. My pick for July.
Cool.
August. Bring it
Is
out.
the last pick?
That's it.
Oh shit.
This is that like ether of movies that like look cool, but you're like, I don't know if that's gonna be good.
I have a definitive one that I know is gonna be that I've been waiting for. So I started on the book, didn't finish. My girlfriend finished.
It For You?
She did.
She read it to you.
And that is the all Asian beautiful cast, Crazy Rich Asians.
Yeah, that looks good.
Have you fucking read this book?
I have not,
Man,
but I've
do
heard
it.
amazing things.
So I'm like halfway into it. It's a really interesting movie about classism and old money versus new money, the perception of both, and a family, two families kind of merging because of a couple. You know, one the boyfriend is coming from a certain type of money, the girlfriend's coming from a certain type of money, and these worlds are colliding. And there's like a storied history of some families not getting along, and kind of how they function with all this money. And it's something that I've never really read before, something I've never really experienced. And apparently it's very close to the reality for a lot of people. And these are like families that have had money for like hundreds of years. For some thousands. Like it's a weird situation where like somebody invested in peanuts in a place, a factory was opened up, and they've been printing money since. All Asian cast, which I think is incredible. And I just think it's gonna be a good movie. So Crazy Rich Asians is my pick.
Yeah, the moment I saw Constant Wu was involved with it, I'm in. I love her.
It's really cool because, like, she's been kind of advocating for women and Asian women.
Yeah.
And then this comes along and she's a part of it. I'm a big fan of Constance, as I'm sure you are too.
Yeah.
So
I love her on Fresh Off the Boat.
She's incredible and beautiful.
Gorgeous.
Yeah. So Crazy Rich Asians.
My pick for August is Rupert Wyatt's Captive State.
Oh yeah.
So I don't really know a ton about the movie, but just the premise, the director, who I'm generally a fan of. John Goodman is in it.
Vera Farmiga.
Vera Farmiga. Just the idea of it taking place a decade after some sort of extraterrestrial occupation in the city of Chicago, and how people are living then, people that are going along with it.
It says it looked at both sides too, so it makes me think
people going along with it, people who like still are not okay with it.
Yeah.
I like the idea of that, and just the first still. I don't know if you guys saw the picture. It looked pretty slick. It's like, I'll show you guys. You won't be able to see it on the podcast, but like just John Goodman like sitting in like some sort of chamber with like a gas mask on.
Ooh.
Just kind of cool design in it.
Plus him coming off of
10 Cloverfield.
Cloverfield, which is like a great use of him in the creep factor of that role and his ability to be kind of unsettling and use his physicality and his kind of lovable uncle quality, all that. It was like, I could see him doing some interesting things with the product.
I'm always down for a good. I love alien stories in general. So the idea of it taking place like after an occupation has taken place, like time after, I'm very curious to see what that looks like. And
John Goodman doesn't pick bad movies, man. He's
interesting. He's interesting. I like most of his movies.
Yeah, it's not to say that he's never been in a bad one, but you're right. He doesn't pick like the obvious stuff. I mean, outside of like the Flintstones movies or something like that, and you love him. You know what I mean? Like we all kind of love John Goodman. I watched Raising Arizona a couple of weeks ago with my family, and I'd forgotten how. I mean, I love that film. I've seen it so many times, but every time I see it, it sort of strikes me how young John Goodman was when he made that, and what a discovery he seemed at the time. And you think about that relationship with the Coen brothers.
They've been making films for so long at this point.
Yeah,
that movie's so good.
Crazy side topic. Why has Nicolas Cage never worked with the Coen brothers again? Like, I don't know if anybody has ever been
he's like batshit crazy.
as perfect. Like, he delivers their dialogue as, like, he and Holly Hunter, really.
Amazing.
As about as well as anyone's ever done. And then they, it seems like they do that. Like, they'll latch onto a leading man and work with him again and again. And it just made me think, like, what's up with that? Is there some, like, is Nicolas Cage enough of a, even though he takes whatever script, is he enough of an artist to say, like, that was perfect, I don't want to work with them again? Or is it that they aren't calling? Or what? I just can't imagine what it is. Because it seems like they could do a little bit, not quite the Tarantino thing, but it seems like they could do some late career rehabilitation for Nicolas Cage if it was the right role. Cage-a-sance.
It could happen, man.
Could it really?
Stranger things have happened.
Yes. Get him in like 2 or 3 good movies, I think.
No, you're right.
Restart his shit, man.
He's never been like, what's the longest stretch of sheer awfulness he's been? Like how many movies in a row were terrible? Like, what was the last one he made that was any good?
Mom and Dad. Have you seen that?
I did.
I enjoyed the shit out of that, man.
It was fun, but it's kind of silly.
It's silly as hell, but it was such a cool idea.
Yeah, he's like, but it's like that's the performance though that he is in like everything now.
Yeah.
And that's the problem is that like I'm trying to think of the last like really good.
Like what was the last time he was like a character? That you believed?
I don't know. I mean, a lot of people enjoyed. Yeah, I would say a lot of people enjoyed Kick-Ass, or I mean, the National Treasure movies did pretty well. The first one, it was a huge hit.
Yeah.
It really was. I mean, that was a blockbuster. That was a franchise starter that never really got going, but those are the two that come to mind, like in terms of like mainstream movies, recent, and that's not recent at all. But I mean, he's been in so many. He's had a movie coming out this year called Mandy. Yeah, that is supposed to be actually pretty good. Mm-hmm. So I'm very curious to see that.
But it also sounds like it's being billed as he's unhinged in this. And you're right. It's like, do they bring him in to do anything else?
Yeah.
Just like Mom and Dad.
But Mom and Dad was such a fun movie, man.
I thought it was fun. I did have fun with it.
Yeah.
I don't know, but we'll see.
Yeah, John Goodman.
Captive State, August.
Captive State. Well, that was my pick too, and my number 2 is Brian Henson's Happy Time Murders. You know, it's one of those concepts that it's a puppet-based noir-style murder mystery that sounds like it's like the Roger Rabbit of the puppet world.
It's an amazing premise.
Yeah, it really
is.
I haven't seen anything
where it's like
about
there's a world where puppets are real and there's a murder and there's like, I mean,
they're the stars of like an 80s series. Yeah. And like the stars are the puppets and they exist in our world.
Yeah.
They're beginning to be murdered. And there's like a mystery surrounding solving who's murdering them.
That sounds nuts, man.
The only thing that gives me trouble, and I don't even dislike, as an actress, I don't dislike Melissa McCarthy, but that she's the lead of this doesn't tell you anything about the direction it's going in. She could be great. She can be quite funny and quite good, but her being in a movie, it's kind of like Ben Stiller. It's like it doesn't promise anything in particular. It doesn't tell you whether it's going to be mainstream
have
schlock.
you seen the trailer? How do the puppets
I don't think there's anything yet. It's like Captive
Ooh.
State. You know, probably in a few weeks we'll see trailers for some of these late summer films start to roll out. But I think that's why it's hard to choose. But yeah, I like the idea. I like the premise of the Henson Company continuing to do interesting things that aren't strictly trying to revitalize the Muppets. So yeah, I'm into this, but just having not seen anything
from it. It's got a pretty cool
it.
cast though too. I mean, beyond her, it's Elizabeth Banks, Joel McHale, Maya Rudolph, Jimmy O Yang, Fortune Feinster, who is, you would know if you saw her. She's
oh yeah.
It's a lot of comedic actors.
Right, it could be quite funny. Well, you know, like when
it's definitely heavy on that.
When they announce the Muppet movies, it's always like that. Like the list of people they get, it's always like it's kind of in line. Yeah. And I have to say, like Joel McHale, I think he plays like an FBI agent in it. Yeah. That to me sounded like that sounds like a scene from the Muppet movie, doesn't it? Where he would be interacting. So I hope that it's got some of that. What we love about the Muppets is that silliness, and that it's kind of open to just puppets being in the real world. And it sounds almost like it's gonna be that. Yeah. And it does sound very Roger Rabbit. It sounds very much like humans and puppets interacting like humans and tunes in that. So yeah, I'm hopeful that it'll be something special and not just like. Somehow it sounds like one of those projects that by the time you see it, you will go, oh yeah, they worked really hard over a long period of time to make this work. And it's weird. Do you know what all the kind of movie I'm talking about? Where you hear about, like anytime Terry Gilliam puts out a movie, I feel like that. I feel like there's a long period between the financing and the shooting and the getting this made. And when it finally comes out, it's going to be like, okay, you know, I don't know.
Good for you.
But yeah, so I'm hopeful for Happy Town Murders.
Cool.
But I think my heart is with Captive State, that kind of genre thing. Sounds really awesome.
Cool.
So what do we think now that we've talked about it? Does that sound like an interesting summer?
It does. It does. It's not as many tentpole picks as I thought there would be.
Right.
But that may be a good thing. I'm always a big fan of when we pick ones that are off the beaten path of maybe what people know is coming out. Yeah. Honestly, so
I hope that if anybody listening heard about this solo film that's coming out in May, that they're like, I might give this Star Wars thing a try.
Small company making this film. Yeah, but I'm happy. I'm happy.
I'll have to check back at the end of the summer and see where
each
of these months landed with these films that we've
I
picked.
always want to do some kind of thing where we actually follow through on seeing all the films we mentioned, but I feel like we're all guilty of not even seeing a film that we thought was going to be one of our picks. Yeah. And that just goes to show you, especially like for August can change a lot. Oh, totally. Captive State could put out a trailer that looks iffy, and then there could be 5 other films. But Rupert Wyatt's last film was the Planet of the Apes, right? The first of the new series. Yeah. So that's a good
he also did
track
the
record.
The Escapist, which I thought was really good. Mm-hmm. I keep wanting to think Brian Cox is in it. I don't know if that's right or not, but I don't know.
Really good movie. Brian Cox is probably in it.
Chances are good. Chances are pretty good. But yeah, we'll have to check back maybe and see what these panned out on.
Have to go back to all the previous summers, determine if we have seen all those films, make sure we see them all.
That's a very pressurized
situation.
I know.
Boom, Brian Cox was in it. I was right.
Oh, cool.
First with Damian Lewis, Joseph Fiennes,
Still got it.
Dominic Cooper. Pretty cool cast, man.
Yeah.
Pretty good film. But yeah, we'll check back and hopefully Hereditary does not fall prey to the horror hype machine.
Yeah.
And
that is the question. That's like the ultimate question of all these movies we've talked about tonight. I think
It really is.
Outside of wondering
really
just
is.
what exactly Solo is going to be, and if we're going to see the seams between the Lord and Miller version and the Howard version, the other big question is definitely that.
It's crazy that they're putting Hereditary out in June. I mean, it's a good sign.
Yeah.
Because like that's like that Conjuring slot, like the horror movie that they're really confident in, to put it out in the summer, and they're going for that slot with that. movie.
Sure.
So hopefully it lives up to that. Is that kid here somewhere? Or let's hope not. Yeah. So that's that.
That's
Summer
213.
2018 episode 213. It's Echo. That's what that was. You can find us pretty much anywhere podcasts are streamed or downloadable. Apple Podcasts, Spotify, all the other places.
All of them.
Whatever they are.
Spotcast,
We should be there.
Spotify.
Spotcast, Castpot,
Yeah.
Cast Ride.
Cast Iron Pot.
Yep.
MySpace.
We're there. MySpace.
You think people are going to mass, like all this people leaving Facebook? Do you think MySpace is going to get any action?
Get back up.
How crazy would that be, man? It's not impossible. If they're very transparent about their rules.
Their privacy policy.
So crazy.
Just want to be upfront with you. We are going to do this and we're going to do that.
I want to see like that picture of Tom,
Yeah.
but like digitally aged.
Yeah.
You know,
Yes.
like a little gray around the temples. Was
The
it you that
impossible-
you were talking about the impossible
The impossible
posture?
pose.
Yeah, he's just a skinny guy and he's
Yeah.
turning at an extreme angle. But you're right, it is hard to mimic that.
My friend Cameron implied that he may have scoliosis, and that's how it worked.
I think that he's not human and he's generated by some AI somewhere.
Yes. Bastard.
Some mid '90s AI though, not the stuff that we have today.
Justin Timberlake owns it now, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. MySpace, not Tom.
Nobody owns Tom.
Or that robot that is Tom.
Yeah.
Justin Timberlake owns Tom.
But if you find us on any of these podcast platforms that we mentioned, if you can leave a review or leave a rating, however, if it's a star rating on Apple Podcasts or just some sort of thumbs up, whatever the system might be, we really appreciate it. It helps, get
does.
the podcast up there. If somebody happens to search for a movie podcast or review podcast, maybe someday it'll suggest us
That'd be cool.
and get some more listeners, and we'd appreciate it. You can reach us at facebook.com/movieschmovie, movieschmovie@gmail.com if you have ideas for episodes or just want to interact. We're pretty active on Facebook, like I said last episode, and would like to be even more so. So if you have
We're thirsty,
an
basically,
interest,
is what we're saying. We're thirsty.
if you want to
Desperate for
chat,
interaction.
find us there and say hey. But yeah, as always, you've been our day. Thanks.
Bye.